This is Tammy, and I am here to talk about changing your life. So, to make a change in your life, you have to change your agreements. You have to rewrite your agreements. And so, what I'm talking about is, y'all. So, so many of the amazing thought leaders are talking about basically changing your, in order to change your life, change your mind, change your thoughts. We're kind of going on the same vein with that. To make a change in life, you have to rewrite your agreements. And so, what does that mean? That means that the things that you decided, the timeline that you decided to stay in, it's time to change that. It's time to change your timelines. Start changing your thoughts. Change the way you think about things. If you think about something and you always seem to attract that thing into your life, then it's time to look at why. It's time to look at why are you thinking that? And it's time to shift that agreement. So if you had an agreement in your mind, and I want to talk about this because this is something that I have dealt with. So if you have an agreement in your mind where you feel like you are in victim mode or in victimhood. You feel like you're a victim. You feel like everything that you do, nothing ever works out. You feel like, even if you plan it, you set it up, you set intentions for it, you pray over it, you do meditations, you do rituals around it, all of these things, you call it into being and it's not happening. Then probably what's going on with you is you need to change your agreements. Change the things that you have decided are in your life. So if you many times, if you come from a poor family, you come from a family that, doesn't have a lot of money, they may have a lot of love, and that's a good thing as well. However, we're talking right now about manifestations of things. Absolutely. Thank you for joining, David. But we're talking about manifestation of things and manifestations of, different experiences in your life. And so typically, in order to make those changes, you have to start to really decide that, you are no longer associated with that particular timeline. You're not associated with that particular thing. You're not just thinking thoughts all willy-nilly. You are sitting down and looking at how you think the thoughts and how it shifts and moves for you and what it is that you need to do in order to get yourself to the place where you see yourself. And so I always talk about visualizing because that's one of the things that I have really dived into and really began um, to shift and really bring into my life, because it's something that as children we did. As children we brought in, all the stuff. Hey, thank you for joining. Um, we brought in all kinds of things through our imagination. And we didn't even realize at the time that we felt that way, that was a thing. And so, what we want to do is we want to really begin to move the needle. We want to really begin to shift into this other timeline where we are doing the things that we want to do. We have decided that we're going to rewrite those agreements. So if you agreed to be an angry person, for me, I'm going to say an angry black woman. If you agree to be that angry person, or this person that is not compassionate, has no compassion, you don't care about anybody else, or if you agree to be, in a narcissist space at this time, you can shift those particular agreements, because that is really what they are, is things that you have agreed to in this lifetime. And so when you begin to understand and you begin to see that these are just agreements, things that you agreed to, that you can indeed shift them. You can indeed begin to change your life by shifting out of this agreement, because you don't have to stay a victim. You don't have to stay in that place of, I'm never going to have enough. I'm always going to be here. That is like the caste system. And so for those of you that, love movies like I do, I watched the movie called Origin, which I'm going to watch again because it was that good. But it's called Origin, and it's based on this book with the cat, about the caste system that this young lady wrote, called Caste. I think it's Caste, the caste system. And she compared some of the caste system in India, some of the what do they call them? Unmentionables, or there's a name for them, I can't remember right now. But she talks about that, and then she talks about Nazi Germany and how what they did in order to, do what they did, the atrocities that they did to the Jews. And then she also relates that to slavery and all the atrocities that happened in here. Hello, thank you for joining, Ashley. So, but I'm talking about, making a change in your life, you know, shifting out of those agreements that we have agreed to because we actually agreed to them. Same thing about, a lot of times people don't understand that, we find we choose our parents. A lot of people don't like that. They don't want to hear that, but we do. We choose our parents. We choose our family. Hello, Ashley. Thank you for joining. Um, but we do. But we can also shift and we can change. We can we can rewrite these agreements. We can shift into a different timeline because we all have timelines, multiple timelines that we can live through, that we live in. Because here's the thing, like I tell people all the time, basically, we are all bipolar because why? We don't all stay the same all the time. I'm not always wonderful, happy, gay, all that. I'm not always that way. Sometimes I have my times and my days and my issues where I have to fight to shift and rewrite these agreements. I have to fight and shift into a different timeline. I'm human. Same thing with all of you. Sometimes you go and you know that you should be over here, but you're over here. You know what I mean? And so you begin to do the things to move the needle to shift yourself into that particular timeline because we all live in many. You know what I mean? Like we're just not always the same. I don't know about anybody else. I know that I'm not. So I can speak for me. Not always the same. Mostly for the most part. But there are times when, I have my own issues that I deal with as well. You know what I mean? And there are times when I have to shift my own timeline. That's how I can share with all of you because I know that these things happen. And oh my God, when you start looking at it and you start realizing, because for me, what I started doing was I started looking at the patterns in my life. And so one of the patterns that I identified was walking away because I have moved many, many, many times. And I think that a lot of it is because of that, because when I was young, we moved so many times. I went to like 10 schools in 12 years. So I went to, I think, 2 schools for more than a year. Yeah, 2 schools for more than a year. After that, it was every year, different schools. So, and when I think about that, at sometimes I think about it and it makes me sad because I realize that it was a hard pill to swallow with relationships, especially during that time. Now, you move and you still have your phone, you still got your cell phone. Most people don't change their cell numbers wherever they are. My cell number is based out of Arizona. I live in Washington State. I'm not changing the number because it's my number and it's been there. So, but back in those days, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have internet. We couldn't jump on Facebook. We couldn't jump on a game and be gaming with people all over the world. We couldn't do all that. Now we do. We have these apps. We can connect with each other all over the planet. I'm talking to y'all from Washington State. You guys could be all over the world. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different thing. But during that time for me, I feel like it helped me to really be able to understand people and um, also to understand relationships and also not to be attached. Because I've never been that way, and I didn't understand why until just recently when I started really studying and diving into me. And really understanding, looking at my patterns and looking at the things, that I've been through and all of this stuff to see how I can change and shift and navigate and rewrite my agreements. So I'm talking to y'all, but I'm doing it. You know what I mean? So I feel like the hair club guy. I'm not only the president, but I'm a client. You know what I mean? So I work on myself consciously, consistently all the time. Thank you. Greetings from Turkey. Thank you for joining. But yeah, so typically, you know, when you start to make that change, those changes, and you start to understand that once you start rewriting those agreements, because those agreements, they're made to be rewritten, because you don't know where you were when you collected those agreements, because you know we collect agreements at different times in our journey. You know what I mean? Sometimes you collect it, like I said when I was talking about how I had been to 10 schools in 12 years, and it affected me in different ways. You know, it could have affected somebody else in another kind of way. It could have affected somebody else in a way that, well, they weren't able to make connections easily. You know, they weren't able to make friends. You know, me, I can talk to people. I am an introvert. So I'm, you know, and I mind my energy because my energy is very sensitive to other people's energies, and I pick up people's energies easily. So I learned that about myself. So I'm very, very cautious about stuff like that and very particular. And I do have boundaries, you know, because I have to do that, you know, because I know myself in that way. And those are the ways that I study myself and I learned, and I'm growing and shifting and changing and moving and all of this stuff and rewriting, you know, my agreement, you know, calling in new experiences. Because that's really what you're doing when you start rewriting your agreement. You're calling in new experiences. You're also shifting, and you're also using the law of attraction and all these amazing laws. The law of assumption, which is my favorite law, which y'all know I love these laws, and I'm learning how to use them and using them and creating in my life. But yes, the law of assumption, y'all, is the most amazing to me, because you assume a thing and it is. So you don't have to go deep, you don't have to go over, you just assume it and you start speaking it out. Okay, yeah, this is what it is. This is who I am. Yes, I am this person. Yes, this is what I have. Yes, you know, I'm going to share my testimony really quickly about how I used the law of assumption to get a new engine in my car. So my car had died. It died, y'all. It died. And it was 11 years old. Was it 11? It was 11 years old. And so I was like, okay, you know, this car died, you know, but we need another car and we don't want another car payment, blah, blah, blah. And so I just didn't even worry about it. I actually just put it on the back burner while the people were looking at the car to tell us, you know, what was wrong with it. They reached out to my husband and told him, this is what's wrong with the car. It needs a new engine, but we'll call you back and let you know what we can do, da, da, da. So I said, in the meantime, they're going to call us back and they're going to say that they're going to fix this car at no cost to us. And y'all, that is exactly what happened. They called us back and they said, we're going to fix this car at no cost to you. So we got a brand new engine in my 11-year-old car at no cost to us. Y'all, do y'all understand how serious that is and how crazy that is and how amazing that is? No cost to us. No cost to us. I manifested it because I assumed that that was the case. And I didn't worry about and I didn't listen to what anybody else said. That's the other part. I didn't listen to what anybody else said. I had people, you know, saying, oh, maybe it's just time to get a new car, and maybe you just need to do this, and maybe you just need to do that. Well, guess what? I didn't do any of that shit. I assumed that they were going to fix my car at no cost to me. And that is exactly what happened. And so I'm assuming a lot more things like that. I am assuming every single day. Not only that, I'm assuming and I'm also visualizing what I desire. I'm creating that in my mind. And the more that I do it, the more it gets fun for me, the more that things show up for me. Even things that I haven't visualized, I just have it in my awareness. I just have it in my intentions. That is something that I desire, and things have started to show up. You see how that works? So when you're interested in making a change, definitely you want to rewrite your agreements. And one thing about it is you want to decide what they are. So you want to sit down and start looking at that. Like I told y'all, one of my themes of my life is walking away. And I'm going to share my book because that is exactly the name of my book, Walking Away. Now, I didn't even know when I wrote that book that that was a theme in my life. The theme was walking away. I did not realize that that was a theme. But now that I see that, yes, that was a theme in my life, walking away. And I, I still do it. If something is going on and I need to shift it out of it, I just walk away. Because you know why? It's time. And that's what we're going to do. So, again, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I do appreciate you. If you are here and you are just, you've scrolled and you found me, make sure that you like, share, um, and subscribe, and that you also comment on this video. Make sure that you, like I think I said, hit the like button. Make sure you comment on this video so that the YouTube algorithm gods can make sure that they're pushing my stuff out. So again, thank you so much for joining. Thank y'all for helping me to monetize even by watching this. And make sure you go and watch some more videos so a small creator can monetize. All right, and then make sure that you are following me. Also, if you're on TikTok, follow me at Intuitive Tammy there, where I do live healings, readings. Um, right now, I'm talking about metaphysical, the diseases, the root causes behind disease, in metaphysics. I actually am doing prayers with people. We pray. I pray usually once or twice an hour when I do lives for people. I pray to God. I also do healing activations as well. I have done chakra alignments as well. So all of those things I do. So if you want to join me over there where I do lives and do healing and readings, and I'm also taking subscribers so that if you subscribe, once I get to 25 subscribers, we'll be doing live only, subscriber only lives where you can come in and get, healing. You can get messages from spirit, messages from heaven. All of those things are happening on TikTok at Intuitive Tammy. And for those of you that love Amazon, I have some things down in the description. You can check out my Amazon shop. You can check out some of those links. I actually have my book, I think, down there as well. You can grab that if you haven't. I would love it if you would, because I'm telling you, it's going to change your life, because it seriously is about how I had to walk away in my life. It talks about how I had to really learn how to heal myself, and I shared it's part of my story. So it's a part of I guess it's the first memoir, because I have more books in me. So again, thank y'all for joining, and make sure that you are following me on all the places: Facebook, um, Instagram, Intuitive Tammy 56. Facebook is Tammy Morrison. Here's Intuitive Tammy, and TikTok is Intuitive Tammy. And you can also follow my backup page, which is Tammy Psychic Medium, but I'm about to change it to insurance because I'm working on that. And for those of you that are in America and you are looking for final expense life insurance coverage, I'm your girl. I'm actually doing that as well, because that is something that I feel strongly about. Number one. Number two, I still have a license and I need to do something different. So again, thank you for joining. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye now.